The new stuff here at the Ashley Audio booth at NAMM is a bunch of new speaker products. And the reason Ashley's doing speakers now is so we can really provide a more complete solution. So when you have an opportunity with a client, you want to make sure that you're not just selling them amplifiers or just DSP, but you're able to provide the whole thing. And we'll be adding more pieces to that puzzle as we go forward. But our plan is basically to be a much more complete solutions provider. So this is our first foray into speakers. We've actually worked very, very closely with one of the top speaker gurus in the country. So we didn't just do this, off the top of our heads. Obviously, Ashley doesn't have a history in building speakers. So when you need to call in the pros, we called in the top people. So what we have is the AW series. The AW series is a surface mount series of speakers, very compact. These are all weather designed. So they're smaller guys are IP52, so these will handle some light water. The bigger ones are IP54, so those are going to be good for splashing areas like pools and so on. The deal is you've got wall mount access, very, very good sound in a small box, and the pricing on these is really competitive. But again, think of these as part of the system. So these go hand in hand with our Protea and Aqua Control processors. And the reason that's important is that there are customized voice files and DSP files in here that are designed to optimize the performance of the speaker. And that's true of all the speaker products, by the way, not just the AW. Additionally, the two-way models on the AW have a directivity optimized crossover. It's a proprietary design that we've incorporated to give us a wider sweet spot. So whereas a lot of speakers give you a really good response on axis, they tend to lose it as you get off axis, and that's both horizontally and vertically. The crossovers here is designed to compensate for that phase problem that you typically have in the crossover range, so that you don't get these anomalies, in the frequency response as you move off axis. You get a much more consistent response, much wider coverage angle than you're going to get on a typical speaker. And that's just by itself. With the DSP, it's optimized even further, and you just get really sound. And by the way, those DSP presets also include use with our 12.1 subwoofer. So the 12.1, although it was originally packaged with the IS columns, which we'll talk about, those will also work, and we have preset combinations that work with the AWs as well. So the AW series go with a 2-inch full range, 2.5-inch really, full range. That's a little cube you see there. Then we go to a 3-inch two-way, a 5-inch two-way, and an 8-inch two-way. So naturally, as your requirements increase, you need more output, more bass response, and so on, you can move up the ladder. So we've got a size that fits your requirement. The other thing to understand is that these two guys here, the little ones, are 8 ohm only. As you move to the larger models, the 5 and the 8, those are 8 ohm and also have transformer taps for 70 volt and 100 volt operation. Mounts are included. These are sold and priced as a pair, so you'll get them in a box, 2 speakers in a box with the mounts. Right now, black only. We'll have to see in the future. We may introduce white. We could, but we'll have to wait and see how things go. The next up are the IS series. The IS series are these slimline columns you see here. 2 sizes. There's a 8 by 2-inch, which is this nice little small guy. It's only about 2 feet long, not even. And then the 3.8, which is 8 by 3-inch. So naturally, those are designed to accommodate different requirements. These guys will handle up to 240 watts, about half of that on the 2.8. And you'll notice they fit very comfortably next to flat panels. So you're in a conference room or a hotel lobby or any place, retail, where you need speakers as a supplement to your video. These are a perfect match. And these do, by the way, come in black or white, so we can decor match. Now let's talk about the secret sauce behind these. Similar to the AW series, we've also incorporated DSP to optimize the response, make it as flat as possible. But there's some unique things we've done mechanically to the speaker to really give it some unique capabilities. One is there is a switch behind the speaker that lets you select between an 8 ohm or a 32 ohm configuration. So what that does is you're working in a standard 2-speaker, maybe 4-speaker operation. That's something most amps will handle, no problem. But as soon as you get into a distributed audio situation where you got to use 10 or 12 or more, then you're forced to go with a 70 volt transformer. Well, 70 volt transformers have a couple of downsides to them. One is they add to the cost. They're kind of difficult to fit into these small footprint speakers, like where do you put them? And what that means is you're very often limited by the size. So the really high power transformers tend to be big, and where do you put those? They don't really fit in some of these smaller cabinets. So you wind up with a 15 or 30 watt transformer. It really isn't a lot. The second thing is that they sound horrible. I haven't met a transformer yet that I like the sound of, and I think most people would agree. So what we did to work around that is to give you the capability of using a large number of speakers on a regular amplifier. Is you can flip that and it configures the internal wiring to 32 ohms. That means you can put a bunch of these on an amp, even a non-70 volt amp, regular 4 ohm or whatever. And that means I can put 8, or if you had a 2 ohm operation, which a lot of our amps do, you can put up to 16 of these on a single amplifier without loading down the amp and without having any transformers in the way. So that gives you the same amount of flexibility that you would typically have with a 70 volt speaker without any transformers. So it cuts the cost, it cuts the downside on the sonic footprint that you typically have with transformers, and it's just a more elegant way of doing it. And so that's one of the things we have here. These can be stacked. There's a bracket that allows you to mount these two together, so if you want to create a longer array for more throw, that's another option you have. Then of course you'll see here we have a pole mount on the subwoofer, so a 2.8 or 3.8 can stack right on the pole. There's an actual hole right under the speaker for that. That's incorporated into the speaker, so you don't have to add on a bracket for that. Okay, very easy to mount those on the stand. So those are now available. The 12-inch sub, as I mentioned, that works both for the IS series and for the AW. So you've got a good low-frequency extension for either one of those series. The other model that we're talking about, it kind of in the same context, we have, I mentioned, our Protea-based software, DSP, but the new platform is Aqua Control, and Aqua Control is what our new MXA 1502 mixer amplifier is based on. It's a web-based platform, so I can use any device that has a browser, basically. Here I'm running it with an iPad, and I can use this to control my DSP and have it do whatever I want. This is all touch activated, so if I have a touch panel, this is a little slow now because I'm not optimized yet. But the point is, I don't have to worry about an installed app, and it doesn't care what operating system I'm on. So the Mac guys, the Android guys, it doesn't matter. I can use anything I have. Plus, I can have multiple users. So think about this also from an end user interface, right? If I have remote control panels, which we actually do have here, so right, if I want to give them, let's say, a mixer, right, they have a mixer here, and I can use this to go. Later on, we're going to have customizable panels that let you customize the control interface for the end user and just hand it to them on a tablet, for example. But that means that I might have multiple users. I might have someone in one zone or a different area of the facility that's controlling the unit. I can have a whole bunch of people logged onto this device, just like a website. So the unit itself is the server. The brains and the smarts live in the device. All this is doing is viewing what the unit is serving up. So if this crashes, my device doesn't crash too. Everything is in the box, okay? This system is going to evolve ultimately into a system-wide platform. So as we introduce new products, DSP-based products, they'll all be based on Aqua Control, and they'll be able to talk to each other. We'll have the ability to coordinate the whole system within one interface. So that's the goal, and that's where this is kind of all headed.